Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cosplay Photo Critique. It's been a minute since we've done a critique. The last one we did was in December.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's been a bit
like that.
It's been a bit. Boba, why do your Dutch angle emotes look weird? It's because the Dutch angle emote has been updated.
Ooh.
There's no more confusing it with a DeviantArt logo.
It's not even the same green. Anyway.
Yeah, so I just...
Sorry, I'm moving my monitor over here.
No, it's funny, because I just updated that yesterday. I was surprised that even went through before the stream, but I'm happy it did. So, yeah, Dutch angle emote is new and fresh. So, get in on that Dutch angle usage if you're subbed.
I was like, what is that emote? That's horrifying.
So yeah,
anyway,
we're back. We're living in an interesting time. So hopefully for the next several episodes, you guys have a decent amount of backlog photos to edit and post, because Lord knows we're probably not going to be taking any new photos for a while. But try not be too depressing on that one. So this episode, we're joined again by Kaze Mike. Mike, welcome back
Hello.
to the stream.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah,
after
dude.
He was all like, I don't want to be a guest, I'm scared.
Yeah, it took us a while. It took us a while to get you on.
It took us like over a year.
Yeah. Glad to have you back on. Oh man, Kaze Mike, thank you so much for that sub.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I love that I can thank the person in person. Well,
I wanted to
over the stream, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, so Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. My name is Mike, aka Kaze Mike on Instagram.
Oh my god, really?
Let's see. When have I started shooting? I think it was in 2014, Katsucon. So that would make 6 years now? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's you go 2014, that was like 2 years ago, right?
And also, I actually met Sarah at the same time too in 2014.
No, I met you at MegaCon first.
MegaCon? Maybe.
Yeah.
So I've known you for like 6 or 7 years.
Damn, I can't believe it's been that long.
I know. It gets to that point now where you're just like, that's not correct. That's wrong. And then you look at the
almost a decade. That's scary.
And then Andrew I met like a little bit after, maybe like a year after or something like that. I caught Katsu.
Yeah,
I think
it was Katsu. It was first. It was the first Katsu I had went to.
Oh really?
Yeah, that was where I met both of you at my very first Katsu. So.
Oh, I didn't realize that was your first Katsu.
Yeah.
Dang.
It was back when I was living that life of being like, oh my god, it's KatsuCon. Oh.
Dude, I remember those first days. Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Well, now it's gross and overcrowded, so whatever.
I stopped going to KatsuCon.
Same. Not worth it.
Now the new stuff is MagFest. That's
MagFest.
Dude, MagFest is so good. I hope it happens next year.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? Let's try and keep positive here. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us on this lovely St. Patty's Day. I bet even if you had plans, I'm probably not doing them anymore. So I hope you're here having a drink with us.
Well, I hope you're being smart and not going out.
Yeah.
So thank you for having a brain cell.
Right now, I don't think any of us have any alcoholic beverages, but we may come back with alcoholic beverages after the break. So we'll see about that one.
I'm totally getting something.
And by maybe we mean absolutely.
I think all of us.
These are hard times.
Yeah, all of us deserve a drink at this point.
Anyway.
So, Mike, what ended up getting you into cosplay photography?
Actually, I've always been like kind of interested in photography, and like filmmaking actually. But I've never really got into it because I didn't really know what to shoot, I guess. I shot like cars and stuff like that, and like anime figures a little bit. But when I first went to Katsucon is when I first started shooting. So yeah, it was definitely cosplay, but it was more like combining something that I liked with like because I liked anime as well. So
Nice. So on a very specific note, how's your backlog doing? Do you have a lot of backlog to get you through this trying time, or you're gonna be?
so I've been known to have always a large backlog.
What? It's not
But
that bad.
yeah, no, maybe like a few months or
It's not as
something.
bad as Andrew's.
Yeah, that's for dang sure.
But I actually have been trying to keep up really well this year, and I do not have a backlog at this moment.
Damn!
So on my stream that I usually stream photo editing, I've been playing games and stuff. Final Fantasy VII is coming out soon, so I'll be playing that.
Can't wait to see Reno's titty. It's gonna be great.
Are you planning on going back through any old sets and doing any new edits, or are you just kind of waiting until you can get the camera out again?
There might be some sets where there might be extra photos to edit, so that could be a good idea. Yeah, I thought it was a smart idea to delete my raws like from way back. But now I kind of wish I didn't do that.
No,
Oh
no.
my! What a new mistake!
Because I was like,
Learn.
because I kind of want to re-edit some photos, but I'm like, wait
Yeah.
a second, I don't have.
I
the
mean,
anymore.
you still can.
Mistakes were made.
You have the JPEGs, or like you don't have
the
it at
edited
all?
JPEGs. I, do.
I
I can take those
for
and like try to edit
Instagram-
those.
For Instagram, it's fine. It's not like you're printing it, so
That's a bit of a bummer though. Mistakes were
yeah,
made.
that sucks.
Okay, I've learned.
So Mike, what's one piece of photo gear that you cannot live without?
Ooh. Well, ever since I got the 85 millimeter lens, like I've always been using it. Like I've fallen in love with that lens, and I have to like sometimes convince myself to like use like a wider angle lens when there's like maybe a nice background or something, and not just blow it all out with the 85.
Sarah's just like blast the background.
Blast. Who cares? That's irrelevant.
I've always wanted to pick up an 85 1.4, but maybe someday.
Oh, I gotta get that
Dude, it's the
85
best.
1.2.
Yeah, true.
Okay, that's
That shit, when you can get that in focus, that is just so satisfying.
So what, Mike, I probably already asked you this on the last stream, but what's one cosplay you've always wanted to shoot but haven't gotten the chance to yet?
Ooh. Well, that answer may have changed because I've kind of gotten into Arc Knights. So I just want to shoot some Arc Knights. Like I love that style of
Is that a
it's like
mobile
more
game?
fashion-ish. Yeah. It's
Okay,
like
I
they
was like,
wear
I
like
don't
leather
understand where this
jackets and
comes
stuff like
from.
that. And it looks like street fashion kind of. And of course there's cat girls in there too.
Of course,
But I've been
I've been just like, and there's cat girls. But that's not
I've been
important.
really wanting to get into fashion photography. So like that kind of suits what I want to shoot.
Cool. What's one piece of photography advice that you know now that you wish you could tell younger you?
Ooh. Dang, that's a good question.
Or something you wish you had known when you first started.
Yeah.
I guess I would say like don't worry too much about gear, because when I had a crop sensor camera, like I had like the Nikon 3200 or something like that. Like I kept switching between different ones like that are they were kind of similar, like just a tiny upgrade. But I didn't really notice any like quality difference or like any difference at all when I shoot between each of them. And even when I switched to full frame, like I still didn't notice any difference. I was like, wait a second, what's the point of this? And then, but I mean, you do get a little bit of like ISO. You can use a higher ISO, but that's really really about it. You can still do like amazing photography with just
Well,
like
I think the other thing that people don't think about is like you also get a longer shelf life for your gear. Because like I know I had the Nikon D3000 like forever ago, and that's like mostly plastic, whereas now I'm like metal and glass, and that lasts a lot longer too. But
Yeah.
I agree. I think in terms of photo quality, like if you really know what you're doing, like no one's gonna be able to tell.
yeah. So I would say like learn as much as you can on with what you have before like trying to buy other stuff, I guess. Like try to master it first.
Awesome. Who are some photographers or artists that have been inspiring you lately?
Ooh. I guess for cosplay, Alive Alf maybe?
Yeah.
You guys familiar with that person?
No, not at all.
It's not like we've had him guest on the stream before.
I just worked
No.
with him literally a month ago.
Dude, I love his photography, especially like just like how do you call it? Like cinematic look,
there's
storytelling.
He's unreal.
There's something about the way that he edits a photo that like it's so simple but just so good. Like I don't even quite know how to put it into words how like he just nails his color grading and stuff. It's like, what the hell are you doing? I don't even
Honestly, it's because he nails a lot of it in camera.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh yeah.
when I saw like when I was shooting with him at Katsu, like the back of camera, I was like, this is fucking great. Like this is already good to go. And then he does like his very clean like edit, like his, you know, very simple editing. I mean, it's probably not simple, but you know what I mean, clean editing. And I don't know how he does it. It's but that's what it is. Like he's really good at capturing emotion and mood through lighting. Like I think that's where he really shines. He's fantastic. I could like just go on about how great Elf is.
Absolutely.
So talented. It's so annoying.
Oh my
More like
god. Coming
God.
in hot. Hunger Service. Hey Hunger Service, thanks for that raid.
Where the food at?
Hey, I hope you had a good stream, my dude. What were you cooking tonight? If you guys don't know who Hunger Service is, we've had him on a guest for the stream before. Wonderful, wonderful individual. Very knowledgeable about photography. Actually, he has a photo in the critique tonight.
Oh shit.
But on his streams, he cooks amazing food and makes us all hungry. So go watch his stuff if you haven't already. That said, if you're coming in from his stream and you're wondering what the hell's going on here, about every other week, although we've been off for a little bit, we do a cosplay photo critique where you can submit photos and then we will critique them on the stream. So that's what's happening here. Hope you guys enjoy. All right. Final question for you, Mike. Now that especially we have a bunch of extra time to spend by ourselves, what media have you been enjoying lately?
Well, I've been streaming some Granblue Fantasy versions.
That game looks very good.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I love that, like the artwork and the
Yes.
music,
Oh, the
especially.
artwork is so
Oh my
nice.
gosh. And they actually surprisingly made a really good fighting game because they, I guess Arc Systems, they make really good fighting games. But I wouldn't expect like a gacha mobile game to make a fighting game. It's kind of weird, but dude, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very good looking game. I wasn't expecting to maybe have time to play it, but maybe now I will.
All we have is time now.
Yeah.
And Nifty brought it up too. I'm watching. Okay, wait a minute. Before you guys make fun of me, I did not. I live under a rock. Okay, when I was a child, and I did
Don't say
not.
Naruto.
I did not watch Avatar: The Last Airbender when I was
What?
growing up.
Mike, can I let you in on a little secret?
Wait, you too?
I've never watched Avatar.
I'm leaving.
Oh!
I hate all
versus
of you.
one.
Get me out of here.
Now that we have time off,
Oh my
You should
god,
watch
fuck
it
all
too.
of you.
Andrew, because oh my gosh, dude, this show is so amazing. Oh my god, I love it so much.
And then
My favorite
everyone left.
my favorite characters are Zuko and Iroh. They're the best. I love them.
Have you met Toph yet? Best girl.
Yes. I'm on
Quet,
season
oh my
3 right
god.
now. I haven't finished, but we're on season 3.
Quet,
You're in
what the
season 3?
what the hell? Quet, thank you so much for those
Oh,
10
thank
gift
you.
subs. You're amazing, Quet. I love you a lot. Thank you for that. That's amazing.
Wait, what element is book 3? Is that Earth?
Wait, what?
What are you doing in season 3? I can't even remember. I know the last book is fire, but I don't know what the third.
Yeah. They're
So
about to fight the Fire Lord or whatever. I don't know if they're going to.
Aren't there
but-
4 seasons? Are there really
Wait
only
for all
3
those
seasons?
notifications.
Yeah, we just watched the
icon.
beach episode.
No, sounds coming through.
Oh my god, one of the best fighting sequences is in this show. Like, I think about it sometimes, just like randomly, like pop up randomly, and it's just the music is amazing, the fighting and animation is amazing. Dude, I got like fucking goosebumps. Like, if people have watched the show, they're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you don't even have to like, oh my god. Oh, Zuko, best redemption arc ever. What a great show.
Well, now that we've covered that, Quet, thank you so much for those gift subs. That was amazing.
I'm calling out Henteco JPEG right now. Freaking watching Korra over Avatar first. God damn, you messed up.
If you're lurking and just got gifted a sub, you can keep on lurking. But if you're chilling in chat, spam some emotes if you just got subbed. Oh yeah, thank you so much, Quet. That's very, very kind of you, and you definitely didn't need to do it, but I appreciate that you did. And I think we got one more sound coming through. With that, it's about time that we start transitioning over to the critique part. So just a little bit of housekeeping beforehand. If there's guests that you'd like to see on the stream, please let us know. I have a form for that. Here, let me paste that in chat. There we go. If you would like to see someone on the stream, photographer, cosplayer, let me know. We're trying to find more people that we think would be a good fit to be on the stream. So if there's anyone that you know of that you want to see on, please let us know. Also for Costog questions, we're looking for more people to have on that show too. So if there's anyone that you know that you'd like to see on that, I don't have that for the forum, so just message me suggestions if you have ones for that show in specific. As we critique, please critique along with us. Give your opinions on photos. Let us know. We'll try and take what you're saying in chat and bring it into what we're saying as well. If you enjoy this stream, please consider donating or subbing. Would really appreciate it if you have the ability to do that. Man, I wish I had the Hunger Services cool intro for the spiel for Twitch Prime, which is if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which means you have one free sub a month to give to whichever streamer that you'd like. And if you have the ability to use it here, I'd love it if you could. But for the love of God, use it somewhere, please. If you have that Amazon Prime, use your sub somewhere. Thank you. Sheep are a myth. Thank you so much for that Prime sub, making use of it. Hell yeah, thank you. And then Paint Sadie, thank you. I almost pronounced that wrong. Thank you for that $5.20 donation. I appreciate it. Right now we're working towards sub badges. So we got our new emotes. We changed out the Dutch angle emotes, and now I'm working on getting us some sub badges. So that's kind of the donation incentive at the moment. That said, if you don't have the ability to donate or sub at the moment, totally fine. Just all I ask is if you can share this with someone that you think might enjoy it. There's lots of photographers that probably could benefit from getting their work critiqued, and getting that little push to submit a photo can help a lot. And frankly, I hope we're providing helpful information for people. So please just share it with your friends, share it with your photographers. Yeah. Friendly reminder that our work, we're not professionals. We are very avid, I'd say in the prosumer categories, but very few. Sometimes we'll have guests on that are professional photographers, but we're really just sharing our opinions here. Don't take what we're saying as fact. It's opinion, and it will always be opinion. And if you disagree with us on what we have to say about a photo, that is totally fine. Art is art, and it's okay to have differing opinions as long as you understand, can kind of get to why you have that opinion, then that is totally valid. Last thing here before we jump in, here's a link to all the photos that we'll be critiquing this stream over on Flickr. So that way you're not looking at them on stream. You can actually look at them in high res on Flickr. CTK, yeah, I know that's a weird thing that happens with my page. I'm on the top of it. I need to fix that. I don't know why it's getting that. I don't actually think there's any infection on my page, but I do get that warning. It's weird. So
Yeah, that's weird.
yeah, I'm aware of that. My school blocks my website as well. It's weird. But I can assure you that there is not a coin miner on my website. But yeah. Okay, let's get into this critique, guys. Okay, let's go.
I'm like, how do I critique a photo? I have no fucking clue.
It's just like, it's been so long. How do we do this? Okay, let's jump into this first photo. This first one is from Von Reed. And Sarah, do you want to start us off here?
Yeah. So right off the bat, something I really love about the photo is the lighting. I don't know what other word to use other than like the mood that it sets. It feels very kind of like dreamy, but like kind of mysterious. Like it in her expression, or the cosplayer's expression, is just makes me wonder like what they're thinking about. Like I think the model has done a really good job at like emoting, like because I'm not really sure who the character is, or even if it is a character, I don't know if it's like an OC or something. But yeah, I just love the overall, the mood just feels very mysterious, which I think is interesting because I feel like usually with cosplay photography, you kind of know like the story that the photo is telling, whereas this one leaves me with a lot of questions, like maybe because I also don't know the source material, but I think it's cool that it leaves me guessing like what are they thinking, like what's the scenario. The warm lighting is really nice, and the warm reds and like gold colors, which I'm really envious of because I don't know how to color grade with those colors, to be quite honest. So people who can do it, I think it's very cool. I also think the retouching is really nice, like on their face and just overall on their like skin everywhere. I don't know, it's very clean. It's very like, I like the mood. The only thing that I think it lacks a little bit is I think the position of the cosplayer in relation to the background is a little weird. I can't tell if like that thing in the background is like a door, or if it's a door weird frame, like, or a weird inset into the wall. Either way, like the model is very like straight on, like they're very straight vertically, but then you have like that line in the background where it's a little crooked. It
is a door frame.
It is a door frame?
Confirmed door frame.
Oh, right there. Oh, hello. I was not to be mean. Yeah, for some reason it's a little more distracting than I want it to be, which is odd because it's so blurred out. But it's so like apparent that it's there, and I think this could have been an easy fix. Honestly, just like cloning in like the rest of that wall, like continuing it, so it's not like that dark gradient. That's really my only issue. That's a bad word.
Yeah,
it's
with the photo.
Yeah, it is funny because I agree with you. Like, because everything is so nice with the cosplayer and their side profile and the lighting, like for some reason, even though it's blurred out, I notice more in the background than I want to.
Yeah, it's really weird. Also, please look at this on Flickr because on stream it looks very yellow. their skin tone.
Yeah.
Whereas in Flickr, it's a very
Yeah.
nice skin tone color.
Yeah, no, I really wish that like the background was just a little bit more simple. Like any of like the lines in the background, I would just like Photoshop them out so it's just kind of like almost just like a color, like a generic like orangish like blur in the background. I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, I noticed like when I look at the line, it's kind of tilted a little bit.
Yeah.
Dude, that lighting though, on like when you look at the eye,
I
you can
love
see,
the
like,
reflection
It's
in the
so
eye
nice.
so
Yeah.
much. We'll zoom in
I wonder
for
what that is. That's
Yeah.
like looks like
Where
a
is
strip
this?
box or something.
yeah. That is such a good lighting on the eye.
Beautiful. The catch light is so nice.
And like you said, the pose is just, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's an excellent job.
Also, wait, when you zoom back in, I also want to talk about this more. Is they did a really good job, unless the makeup was like that pristine when they shot. If they took the time to touch up the cosplayer's makeup, like that is definitely something that a lot of photographers do not do. So if you did that, I appreciate you. Yeah, that's so clean. Unless it's like a tattoo or something, then I can see it being that clean. But either way, like even tattoo application, like it's just so nicely cleaned up.
Agreed. I really like this photo.
To Otakon.
The only other thought I had here is I wish like either this crop was just zoomed out just a teeny bit, because we're cutting off the very top of like the horn and like the very edge of her elbow. Like either wish that was like in the frame, or if it was zoomed in just a little bit more so it felt a little bit more intentional with that. Like that's my only thoughts with it.
Yeah, whenever I look through my photos, I'm always like, oh man, I cut off her elbow or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, dang it. But now, like when I shoot, like I notice it more. Like I'm more aware of it when I know that I made mistakes before.
Absolutely. No, this is just an excellent job.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I really don't have a lot to say because it's so nice.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Mood's great, lighting's great, color's great, just some small nitpicks on it. Yeah, you guys ready to move on to the next shot?
Yeah.
All right. So this next photo is from Alex Yu, and Mike, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yes. So the colors in this I really love. Like on the left side, like that teal look over there, and then on the right side you have like a contrasting, like nice warm look. And there's like it looks like a sharpness or something added, and I really like that too.
I don't know why. I thought you were going to say there's a shark, and I was going to be like, what?
Me too. I was like, what?
It's a shark in the water if you look really closely.
And for like a small nitpick, I guess there's like a lot of space on the left. Maybe there's something off of the composition that I can't really pinpoint. Maybe it's the tilt, or maybe
it's the tilt.
Oh, it might be we have a Dutch angle.
Yeah,
This
is a hard Dutch angle, guys.
This is a
Spam
hard
those
Dutch
Dutch
angle
angles.
for real.
But does it count that it's like shot
Oh
down?
yeah, it counts.
Oh, it does. Okay. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the space? Like, is it a little distracting over there? Maybe.
Since it's shot down, I don't think it necessarily needs to be bad, but there's something about it that throws me off.
I think it's because the cosplayer feels like they're falling over. Like, I think if the Dutch angle wasn't as extreme as it is, I don't think I'd mind it. Because I'm a really big proponent on having, like, a lot of negative space on the left or right. I mean, you guys have seen my shit. It's, like, in every photo. But I think because, like, they're falling over, it kind of, like, it leads my eye more to the right naturally. So I'm kind of like, why is all that space on the left there? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's partially because like the focal point of the image you want to be like, so if it's her head, you want her head to be on the upper like right third of the image. So as it is that way, her head is pretty far right in the image, and you'd want her head to be a little bit more left. I think with that, it would work a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like even if her head was slightly tilted to her right, a little bit would help the extremeness of the gun.
Yeah. I firmly believe that I would like this shot a lot more if her head was turned inwards towards the frame instead of outwards towards the frame.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've tried to do now is if someone's looking off to a side or something, I put the negative space into that where they're looking into.
Yes. I think that's compositionally works wonders because you're naturally wanting to follow the cosplayer's eyes in a photo, and if they're looking out of the frame, your eyes will kind of leave the frame of the image instead of like being drawn back into the image. So if you're going to position a cosplayer towards the edge of the frame, most of the time, unless you have a very specific reason for doing it, you probably want to have them facing in towards the frame. It helps a lot. Also, just in this image, the lighting is like, based on what I can tell from this photo, I think her face would be better lit if she had been looking to the left as well.
Oh yeah, the light source is coming from the left.
Yeah.
But it's still really good. Like,
oh yeah, it's not bad. I just think it would be better if she had been looking to the left there.
Yeah.
Also, I assume this was taken at Katsucon and probably not MagFest. And great job for finding space to shoot, because that is hard.
Yeah.
I'm triggered just about it.
Last thing about the pose that I have to say is I would definitely look for some places to add some negative space or some curves into the way her body is shaped. Because right now her arms are in tight to her body, so you don't have any negative space there. And then her legs are fairly straight down from her body, so her body is just taking up like one larger kind of like, if you were to kind of outline the entirety of her body, it's kind of almost like an oval shape. You really want to have kind of more curves and like more, make it a little bit more dynamic. And if you can kind of get her arms a little bit further so you can see the negative space in between her arms and her side, that can help. Or if you had her legs going off at a bit more of an angle, that could help as well.
A good way to think about it is because sometimes it's hard to think of like all those things like when you're shooting. Is so something that I've learned to do is to think about the overall silhouette of the cosplayer. So if I'm thinking that they look like a rectangle, because sometimes it's hard to think about like, okay, I need to like move their arm out to create negative space. It's just like that's a lot to think about. So something that I've learned is to just think about the silhouette, and I've learned that from J Hart Design, actually, from a few years ago, because his silhouettes of his costumes are always just unbelievable. And when he would talk to me about it, I would try to apply that in the same way. It was like, well, how is the cosplayer's body's silhouette? Because even if you're wearing a schoolgirl uniform, you can still make the silhouette of the overall image interesting. I mean, of the model interesting, just based on like arm position and stuff. So if you just think of the term silhouette, that's a good way to process that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Good.
That said, I still really like the colors in this image. I think
I like it too.
Yeah, they're great.
The teals, man, I love the teals.
Yeah, the teals with those oranges and yellows, great.
A sucker for that complementary color scheme.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move to the next shot?
No.
Cool.
Oh, good job.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next image. This one is from Allison Stock, who I know is in chat because I saw her comment just a little bit ago. This is always harder when it's on my photo because I'm starting because I have to grab like a bunch of things and I'm like, quick, gotta do it fast. I absolutely love the movement in this photo. The way her like her fabric on her kimono or whatever it is
Dress, I don't know.
I was like, is it a dress? Is it a kimono? I don't know. Either way, the way that it's draping and just kind of the flow of it just gives such a lovely motion, and like the fabric, like there's no like terrible wrinkles in it. It just kind of just is draping, and it just feels like there's a ton of motion in it, especially with her pose. Feels like she's kind of spinning, and it just feels like you captured it at a really great moment. The lighting is also especially good. It just really makes the image pop a lot. It is very bright. The cosplayer really pops out of the photo because of how the lighting is. It's very, very dynamic on her. Let me go grab my notes. That said, probably the area that I think could be improved the most on this photo is the color palette. There's just a lot of different colors going on in this image, and I think with some color grading, you could really kind of pare that down a little bit and make it a bit of a stronger image. Because like right now we've got like teals, purples, reds, and greens. So there's just a lot of a very wide range of colors in this image, and I think if you maybe played with some of them, maybe like the purples that are in the reflection, maybe if you made those similar to the teals on her dress, and then those like, I don't even know what those flowers are at Katsucon, but that like purple flower that's like
cabbage. Right, that's what I call
it. Yeah. Yeah. No, if you took that and maybe played with that and made it closer to that teal and just kind of brought the colors to be like a smaller color space, I think that would work very well.
Yeah, I agree. I think because you've already touched on all the things that I really know, and I know one of the things I was kind of struggling with was like the range of color. It's almost like too much. Like you kind of don't. It's weird because the cosplayer is like oddly definitely the focus of the photo, but I'm also getting so distracted by all of the colors everywhere. And I know this is hard to do because the dress is like teal, then you're surrounded by green because teal is basically a form of green. And right now I think they're kind of not competing, but conflicting, I think is a good word. There's a lot of conflicting color. They're all very nice colors, but they don't necessarily, I don't think, cohesively work together. Yeah, I think just matching tones. Like I think the red and cyan colors that are on like the costume itself are already a really great starting point, and kind of just going from there would be interesting to see.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the framing overall?
Well, okay, so it's hard because I know the conditions in which this was shot. So it's hard for me to be picky when I know how annoying it is to shoot at Katsucon.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, who haven't been to Katsucon, there is a ton of people here, and your angles for shooting are very, very limited. Personally, I think there's a bit too much negative space on the top of this image. Her head is pretty center framed, and that's something I try to avoid in my photos. So I would have moved the camera just a little bit further down, so you'd have a little less headroom and kind of have her body centered more across the frame.
I feel like that building in the background blocking the light on the right side is like kind of distracting. But I mean, that's super hard to fix. Like, I wonder if you could like maybe just like change the angle just a little bit to the other side to like cut that out maybe. But oh my gosh, that even I wouldn't be able to tell like that's happening back there. Like there's no way.
Yeah. Like that when you're shooting, I would not have noticed that at all.
Yeah.
No, hell no.
Especially the pressure that you are under at Katsucon in terms of like time wise to get a shot, because like a lot of times, like even if it's subconscious, you're trying not to hog the space for too long.
Exactly. As much as we've been complaining about Katsucon in the span of like 5 minutes, it is a good exercise in learning how to shoot and adapt to your environment. So it's not necessarily like an excuse per se. It's just learning how to shoot. Yeah. It's like fucking god awful.
Allison's comment Katsukan was just a 3-day panic attack tempered with drinking.
I don't know what time of day this was, but if it was cloudy, like this is a perfect time to shoot. Or if this was like later in the day, like this lighting is amazing.
Yeah, I think the lighting was nailed here.
I like her freckles too.
Yes.
Usually I have problems keeping freckles on there. Because I always like edit skin too much. I'm like, oh no, I just deleted her freckles.
Yeah. Oops, wrong button. It's that one. Yeah, it's for whatever reason, as a retoucher, like we can get so in our own heads about it where it's just like, oh man, I gotta retouch out all the things, and then you're like, wait, no, those are supposed to be there. Whoops, no.
So easy to erase freckles. It's so hard.
Any final thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
Oh, I had one thing. Are you guys distracted or not distracted, but is it a problem that her arm is gone, her right arm?
Oh yeah, I did want to bring that up. I wish the arm was there, but I guess because I can see the sleeve of the other arm, it doesn't bother me as much.
With the sleeve, yeah, it's good.
I think because of the motion in the image, like the way it's draping and kind of has movement in it, it doesn't bother me as much. Yeah, specifically for this,
you can still feel that it's there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if there was no movement, I'd be like, "Yo, her arm be missing."
Yes,
that's something that I've noticed shooting like recently. Is like, your arm is gone, and like I just tell them to move it in front real quick.
Awesome. Okay, let's move. Right. Fun fact: I literally cut her arm off right before this shoot. That's hilarious. All right, let's move on to the next photo. This next one is from, oh my god, it's from I Am Photography, or as some of you might know him as, the Hunger Service.
Oh, Hunger Service.
Hunger Service.
He's someone we've had on as a guest before, and I mean, there he is right there in chat. Hey, the Hunger Service. Sarah, do you want to start us off on this one?
I'm gonna be a little tough on you because I know you can handle
him.
it.
Oh, you can.
No, just whatever. First of all, I knew this was this photo like immediately because I don't know what it is, but there's always like a certain softness to your photos that I don't know what you do, but I know it's your like literally immediately. Like even though your color grading is like pretty different depending on what you shoot, it's this softness that I love. So I love that even in the midst of this Katsukan chaos, you're still able to do that. I love the movement in this photo. I think the pose is really beautiful. Again, I have no idea what the hell this is from because I don't watch any anime or read any manga anymore at the moment. But yeah, I love the colors and the movement. This is another example of like a color scheme photo that I'm just like all of the colors just work really well together, and they feel like, it sounds kind of weird, like kind of muted but like not muted. I really like the tone of the red and how it just really pops in this image, and the cosplayer's expression is just really beautiful.
Yes.
That being said, for I Am Photography, I'm a little disappointed that the background is so crooked because your shit is always so clean when it comes to the background, and then this I'm kind of like, that was the only thing that kind of threw me off, like color grading and like the softness to it. Like I was like, I think that's I Am Photography's background's kind of throwing me off because like I said, your stuff is always just so on point with that. So again, I know it's a Katsukan, it's crowded, I get it, but because there's just a really strong reference of what that is in fact a door frame, and door frames are in fact, I would hope to God, are perpendicular to the ground.
So it's funny. I don't think it bothers me as much in this image, purely because of the way her movement of her body is going, and it flows in the same direction as that angle is happening.
So I do agree that this Dutch angle does not bother me as much as the other one, but knowing I Am Photography, I'm a little surprised. Also, I feel like if the seam of the door maybe wasn't there, I wouldn't be as bothered because then it's kind of more just like blurred out shapes in the background.
Even when I shoot in front of these doors, I always edit out the seam of that door. I don't know
I do
what
too.
it is. It just is like the ugliest part of the door, and I'm like, okay, these doors don't have seams anymore. It's just a
Well,
solid
my
panel.
gap is so big.
I
Yeah.
think I've done
Like
that
it's
before
very
too.
apparent. Yeah, like honestly, I feel like if the seam and then you kind of just photoshopped out like the handle, which is really easy to do in this image, I would be okay with it, to be honest. Because then you're kind of just like, oh, it's just like interesting, like fucking abstract shapes in the background. I don't know.
Dude, he said he submitted on purpose.
He's like, I'm
Because
gonna get him with that Dutch angle.
Yeah, he's gonna
I'm gonna get him.
I hate you.
No, it's so. I want to say I really, really adore the movement of this. I'm a sucker for foreground bokeh, and
Me too.
And
You got me.
having this like the foreground movement of this of the kimono, like that flowing and being out of focus. Oh, I love that so much. I'm really, really into that.
Is that blur or out of focus?
It's I think a combo of both, because I think there's a little motion blur in it, just a little a hint of motion blur. But it's mostly just bokeh.
That's one thing too. Like you have to decide on the shutter speed to get like stuff like this. If you want to have a little bit of blur or
Give
whatever.
me that blur.
So yeah, so you have to be aware of that, or you could edit it too. You know that works.
Yeah. Literally in my notes for this, I the Hunger Service, I had the foreground bokeh of the kimono is chef's kiss. that was what I had in my notes.
All right, I'm done. I'm leaving.
I noticed one little nitpicky, like something that only photographers might notice is there's like some chromatic aberration in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm noticing it on the
But I think
the
on an
fan.
Instagram you wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, totally not.
You have to like super zoom in.
When you zoom in, yeah.
Where? So my personal biggest peeve about this image is actually that I wish it was zoomed out more. We talked about in a previous image of cutting off elbows, and this is another example. The elbow has been lost. I really wish we just got a little bit more of her body, specifically the elbow the arm that's holding the fan. But I'd like to see where the hell her other arm is going as well.
Might be this space thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think this person posted other shots.
Yeah, Katsu's hard, man. Like we get it.
Sucks.
Like we're idealizing the situation here. This might have been the space that you had to shoot it. So
honestly, this space is the worst. Fucking nightmare. Especially this year, because like they really narrowed like the space that you could walk. So to be able to shoot in this door area was just like, ugh.
Oh, you couldn't like stand back enough, right?
No, it was so hard. Like last year they at least like made it pretty wide, but this year so narrow. Like it was like the width of like a normal like interior hallway, and it just
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really like, well, with the 50, it was freaking struggle bus. So kudos to LA for shooting here and getting a shot at all, honestly.
Other final thought I have on this one is I think just doing a little dodge and burning on the black part of the kimono. I don't know what you call the bottom half there.
Hakama?
I was gonna say Hakama, but I lacked the confidence to do it. I think if just adding a little contrast right now, it just feels a little bit, especially like zoomed out, feels a little bit like a void of blackness. But I think if you added a bit of contrast in there, it'd be easier to like recognize the shapes in it more.
He shot with a 50.
Yeah. Mello said, "You don't see people shoot low usually. It makes it very magical for the viewer." Yes, I agree. I think the low angle with the motion is part of why I like this image a lot.
Me too.
Any other final thoughts on this one from you guys?
Think we're good?
What?
Good job.
Yeah. Thanks.
Make me food
Yeah, make us all food because
and mail it to us somehow because we're all
Yes.
fucking social distancing ourselves into oblivion. Filming.
Oh Lord.
Ugh.
Okay, this next shot is from Mario Santos. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, we're gonna do this. I missed this. Wolfie, thank you so much for that tier 1 sub. Appreciate it, my dude. And then Lou, I'm getting on it. Mike, do you want to start us off on this one?
Sure. Wait, what is fighting
Are you
humor?
popping up the ninja headband?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a guy got a channel points thing. So got the channel points and get the 15 minutes of the headband. It's how it works. It's how we do
What
it.
should I do? We need something for me.
We all need to get.
I actually don't
Just
own a
ev-
Naruto headband.
What the hell? Sarah.
Nifty.
Sarah.
Give me your
I
head.
borrowed it from Danny.
Oh. All right. Anyway, dude, backlit photos are very difficult, but
Especially in this fucking gazebo floor.
yeah, but you did really well here. Like the exposure you picked, I like it. The background's completely blown out, but it works out for this photo, I think. One thing that I noticed is you got rid of the chromatic aberration, I think. I don't see any, so that's really good. That's always an issue when you do backlit photos. I like how the cosplayers are like framed in the gazebo,
Yeah,
which
those
is
were
really
like framed in the frame of the frame.
yeah, the frame. For nitpicks, I guess the cosplayer on the camera right, their arm is missing.
Yeah.
I would just like bring it out a little bit. Just tell them if you
I
notice.
mean, both of their arms are missing. I kind of wish they were both turned out a little.
Oh yeah, the arm, but you still see the hand. And I also noticed the little safety pin.
It's supposed to be there.
Supposed to be there? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good job for not removing it then, because I may have removed it.
Yeah, you would have been like, goodbye.
This is old school. Not really. Well, it feels old school, but yeah.
I remember I was retouching a photo once and I retouched something. Like I fixed the height of like an armband or something because it looked like it fell down. And then they like commented afterwards like, oh no, it was supposed to be like that. And I'm like, God, why is cosplay like this?
why are character designs so stupid?
But I really like how they like pop out because they have like dark clothes in the background.
I was gonna say this lighting feels like very epic, this is from Tekio Hitman Reborn, in case people don't know what the hell is this.
Yeah, I didn't.
I feel like I want to say it's
Yeah,
old, but I don't feel like it was that old. But I mean, I guess I did watch and read this when I was like a freshman in college. Anyway, I'm like, yeah, I really like the backlighting here and like the bright white. Usually, like blown out background gallery. I think here it helps kind of like give that like epic, like cinematic feel, which is kind of like when the characters in Reborn, when they have their powers, especially the main character on the right, he becomes from being this like completely useless person to like this badass. So it's so weird. I can almost like hear like his theme song playing when I look. I was really into Reborn back in the day, so I think it's just really cool that they brought this back. Yeah, I think the lighting works really well here, and the poses are really nice, minus the fact that their arms are missing. Whatever, it'd be like that. Yeah, I love Throwback. This is very, very cool.
So, one thing that I thought when I saw this image is I wish their heads were turned a little bit less straight onto the camera, because I feel like you get a lot of that, like especially being backlit, where the head immediately goes into the neck and you lose the definition of the chin. So if you turn their head a little bit so that their chin juts out a little bit, you'll not lose that definition quite as much. Mel,
Yeah,
don't
I feel like
hate
when
on
I
Nightbot.
feel like when I shoot now,
I'm hating on Nightbot right now.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I feel like when I shoot now, I'm just always looking at people's chins. Like, is it good? Is it good?
Yes.
Always trying to make him move around.
Thank God.
So my nitpick in this photo is going to be the vertical lines. They're so close to being perfect.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
that it was off.
it's I don't know why I'm like especially attuned to this, and it's a huge pet peeve of mine. Let me see if I can screen share in a way that'll I added some rules in Photoshop so that you can see the
Like very slight.
yeah. So like the vertical line, you can see like this one just bows a little bit inwards, and then like the horizontal line isn't quite totally horizontal. And I think it wouldn't bother me in most images if not for this being just all vertical and horizontal lines throughout the entirety of the background. That, and maybe it's just because I'm a weird photographer that's like tunes into that a bunch. So it may just be me. But personally,
no, that's true. Like we have like very strong indicators that this should be straight. And honestly, this is a really easy fix in Lightroom with the distortion panel or something.
Dude,
I use that a lot.
I love guides. I always use guides in Lightroom.
Yeah, personally, I would have fixed this in Photoshop, but like either way you want to fix it, it's not too difficult to do.
But it's not enough for me to be like, go edit it. Honestly, like Joe Schmo's not gonna care. We care because we're annoying.
Do we mean that as in the generic sense of Joe Schmo, or do we mean that in the specific sense of Joe Schmo?
I mean, Joe Schmo might notice. Y'all don't know who Joe Schmo is, go listen to his podcast because it's hilarious.
Yeah. Actually, give a shout out to Joe Schmo. He's got his new cosplay podcast, and I've only listened to the first episode, but it was the first episode.
It literally
really
has me until we were like forced to work from home for the next like 20 years. I would laugh at my desk to myself every morning, and I swear to God, my coworkers probably think I'm fucking psychotic, but Joe's just so funny. I can't help it.
Yeah, I always listen to his podcast at work too.
What is it called? The Art of Dressing Up or something?
Playing Dress Up.
Playing Dress
Up?
Yeah.
I think it's is it under Joe?
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere.
I literally just have it open. Not logged in. Anyway,
there. I posted the link to it on Spotify in chat.
Oh, so. Perfect. Go listen to it because I know y'all have nothing better in life because I'm dying. It's hilarious.
I think that about covers it for this image. Let's move on to the next shot. This next one is from Stuff Y, who I also know has been hanging out in chat.
Photo.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that, yes, this one I am starting off on. Let me grab the link for everyone real quick before I jump into it. Mike and Andrew are twinning. Is it just purely from our colors and our background? At first, I looked over and I'm like, is he wearing a Naruto headband?
Me too. I was like, wait, what did you whip it out?
No, okay. So I really, really like this image.
I love this one.
The lighting is just lovely in this shot. The way it's kind of like falling on her cosplay, there's a lot of depth in the whites, and that can be particularly hard to do in images, is getting that depth in a white parts of the costume. And most of her cosplay is either white or black, and having it feel that dynamic just really, really great.
Wait, is this a Wooloo Gajinka?
I do not know. It's a good question.
Oh my God, I think it is.
Could be.
Oh my God.
It is a Wooloo.
Oh, it is. Dude,
I was like, wait a minute, because I just noticed the ears. I got a little lost. But I saw, so like her staff, I'm like, okay, like Bo Peep. And then I saw the skirt and I was like, it kind of looks like sheep. And then I was like, and then I saw the pigtails, and that's like the twin braids, and like that's a big Wooloo Gajinka thing they're doing. I was like, oh my God, it's a fucking Wooloo, but it's like Lolita. It's so cute.
So as I was saying, really love the lighting. And then another part that I really love in this image is the depth that's created with the bokeh. as I said in an earlier image, I am a sucker for foreground bokeh, and this bush and the flowers heading out in towards the frame, and then the way the bushes are falling off in the frame, it gives a really strong depth to the image. It's part of the reason why I love foreground bokeh, is that it allows to place a cosplayer in a space and really like brings a three-dimensionality to the image that I really adore. And this does it very, very well. And overall, I really like the color scheme that's going on here. The greens and yellows in the background, and just how like the whites on her feel very pure, but there still feels like there's a decent color grade on this image. It doesn't feel boring. The one thing I would say there, though, is the flowers on the bottom are throwing me off a little bit, purely because like their colors don't really exist anywhere else in the image. I kind of wish you had played with them a bit more. I maybe made the yellow flowers golden or something like that. Just
like not as saturated.
Yeah, because they draw my eyes to them very easily and kind of become a bit of a distraction in the image.
I agree.
It could have worked well if there was like flowers on top and they had framed her, but just because they're in like the lower right corner and that's the only place, that it feels like the image feels a little off balance to me.
It's like very heavily like color saturated on the bottom right. I do want to point out that they did a good job in positioning their or telling them where to look with those fake glasses, because those plastic lenses are so reflective, and let me tell you, I have messed up many a time with fake glasses before.
It's
they
funny.
Did a really good job there.
It's funny if you zoom in super hard and look at the reflection, you can definitely tell there's people in the reflection.
Oh yeah, I can see people. But, like,
but you really need to zoom in to be able to tell that. But
it's not covering her eye.
No.
Yeah. Malo said get rid of the pink flowers. I agree. I think even just changing the pink flowers to yellow would help a lot.
Yes,
and then making the yellow match a little bit more. I don't know. Also, I almost have to like play around with it myself to figure out what I'm saying. But I agree with Malin. The red flowers definitely need to just go, because there's literally no red anywhere else. The yellow at least exists in like those like weird bushes and stuff.
Mike, sorry, you were saying something.
Also, I can't believe this is at Katsucon. Like, you picked a like amazing location here. Like, I didn't even notice that it was at Katsucon.
He picked I don't know. He picked really good framing for it, because I know exactly where this is, because I've shot here too. And I think that the choice of where they've positioned themselves to take the photo is very interesting. Like, I never would have thought of that. Also, because like you're in the way, but who gives a shit? Whatever. Their choice of framing is really nice.
I find it funny how unintentional themes pop up in these critiques sometimes, and the theme of this one seems to be both Katsucon and cutting off elbows.
Fucking right about the fucking elbows.
Well, you can't see it though. There's clothes there.
No, dude, I know that elbow's cut off. It's just so close. Like, it just needed to be zoomed out just ever so slightly.
I don't think it bothers me.
It does. It's not terrible. Like, I'm not like, what the fuck? He cut off an elbow? No, no. But I do wish that the frame was just pulled back ever so slightly.
That was actually one of my nitpicks, was like kind of like the positioning of the cosplayer, because I almost wish that their butt was like a little more. Why are you saying?
Ban Weenuses 2020.
Oh my god.
Stuff White does say, only reason, if I may say, is because I couldn't back up any further.
Okay, you're valid. So in that case, I think I've had the a little bit. I've legit have my models like pretend they're sitting on something if you can't see it. And they're not actually sitting, they're just, because like it looks weird. And sometimes you gotta adjust. So yeah. Because I do feel like it, again, this is like really fucking nitpicky. Because I do kind of wish that her, what you call it, cane?
Crook.
What's it called?
Crook?
A crook? That's really what it's called?
I think so.
Oh. Anyway, I kind of wish it was a little more straight, actually. And then she could have moved forward a little bit, and then we would have avoided, like, elbow getting cut off, and also maybe felt a little more balanced. Again, that's just me. That's just
crook.
opinion.
Noun. The hook staff of a shepherd.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know what it was.
Didn't know that. One little thing that I noticed
I
was
learned.
like my eyes get drawn a little bit to the top right, where it's all bright right there. So it's like conflicting with where her face is, I think. But I don't know how you would fix that. Maybe lower the brightness or something.
Part of me likes that in a weird way, but I also agree with you.
Oh, I like it. Because I'm a hoe for that kind of shit. Again, just look at my photos, you know.
But do you guys try to place like them into that lit area? Or
yes.
You just okay.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, this is great. Look at that. Blair, this doesn't even work. Well, I'm gonna make it work. I'm desperate, okay?
Okay. So we've hit the first 6 photos. What that means is we are going to take a short break.
Oh my god, we're already at halftime.
I know, right? It felt
this shit goes so fast. I've been so deprived of social interaction.
Oh man, it's so lovely. We're talking to people. We're having fun. It's just great. It's just great. Think of all the happy times. Think of Katsucon. Remember when there were people in groups? What a time.
Katsucon was a fucking nightmare. Never again. I would not fucking quarantine me for a month. I'm not going back to Katsucon. I love getting yelled at for no reason.
Joe and Mallow stream. Dude, Mallow, I had such fun ideas for a stream that was going to happen with potentially you, Sarah, and Joe that is not going to happen because well, maybe it'll happen at a later date.
Or sooner than later.
Yes.
Dude, I'm so ready for that.
Yes.
It's gonna be fucking clown hours.
So it's gonna be break time. When we come back, though, we will be doing a Q&A for 15 minutes. Yeah. So think of questions over the break that you want to ask us. Don't post them now because I will not see them because I will not be at my computer during the break. I'm gonna be making myself a drink. So save them. Think about them. And when you come back, post those questions in chat so that we can answer them. Okay, we will be back in about 5 minutes. See you guys shortly. Oops, I hit the
drink.
So bad.
Oh man, supposed to go to this one. Yeah, this one. Hey everybody, we are back. Let's see. I got another Fighting Dreamers hit up during the break. So hold on while I put this back on.
Where is this? I don't see it pop up on the screen. Or do I not? Or do we not see it?
What?
I see it.
Where is it?
Oh, it shows up. Fighting Dreamers shows up in the chat, like when it's activated. And
I've been looking for this on the screen.
No. Eventually it will, but
where?
It's upside down. I don't care.
I see it.
I don't care.
It's so small.
So just so we can share what's everyone grabbed for their drink. Me, rum and coke.
Yeah.
Mike's straight balling over there.
Yeah, he's like, I got 5 shots in here. I'm good.
This may have been a mistake. Also, I love that I have my rum and coke in a Disney World Cup from the 90s from McDonald's.
I was like, that looks like
from McDonald's.
Yeah, dude, this is from this was like a McDonald's thing from the 90s. Hell yeah. That's how we're rolling.
Mallow just said Mike is going to Team Rocket blast off.
Yeah, everyone, share what you're drinking in chat. We'd love to know.
Mallow, I know you drinking that red wine.
So yeah, let's get those questions, people. Let us know about them questions. I will try and copy and paste them as they go. So This one from Lou is the first one I'm seeing here. Sorry, I will try and find everyone's, but I just want to get one up right now. This one's from Lou that says, would you prefer DSLR or mirrorless?
Oddly enough, I prefer DSLR because I like how it feels in my hand. That is it. That is literally the only reason. But that's a good reason, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I think honestly, I do prefer DSLR in the hand, but Canon's new one, which I am now shooting on, I think.
Oh no, except Canon mirrorless does feel.
They kind of built the body to feel more like a DSLR body, yeah, I really like it. I mean, I'm shooting mirrorless now. I think honestly, as mirrorless continues to improve, they will eventually replace DSLR, and this will feel like an antiquated discussion. I think probably give it another like 3 years, it like will be like, yeah, no, it's just there is no DSLR. It's all just mirrorless.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so ready for a mirrorless though to take over it, so I can have that eye focus.
Dude, it's a game changer.
All I want.
It's so nice. I even though the one autofocus on Canon doesn't work as well as it does on Sony, it still works pretty darn well. So
yeah.
You know, hell yeah. Okay, this question is from Sheep Are a Myth. Is favorite lens to shoot on?
The 70 to 200.
Wow, what?
That's a fucking joke.
What?
Sarah's shooting zooms?
Yeah.
Ew.
In this lifetime? Never. For me, it's 70 to 200.
50 millimeter. If I was taller, I'd be. That's just too hard.
And don't you mean 200? Isn't it just locked in place?
That 200 f2.
Ooh.
No, that lens is dumb. It's fun. It's fun, but dumb.
It weighs. I do.
It's the dumbest lens I've ever shot with because it is so huge and so heavy and only like so mildly better than the 70 to 200 at 200. But like, man, it's still, there's something very special about it in a weird way. I would never ever pay the money for it though. Never. Nope.
How much is it?
It's like $7,000.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
I feel gross touching that.
Yeah, though. It's not a lens for people to buy.
Oh, I feel weird.
Yeah, Mallow and Lou, that's my favorite lens. The one that I use, 85 1.4.
85's so slick.
Yeah. And I shoot it at 1.4 too. Because it's still sharp.
Yeah, no, totally.
Sharp. The Sigma, right?
Yeah, Sigma.
Yeah, Sigma art lenses are great.
Okay, this question is from Ara.
Oh shit.
We stand Ara in this household. Oh man, I gotta put a return in there. What makes you keep coming back to cosplay photography, even if you're busy or burned out? Not everyone at once.
Really? No, it's funny because I literally just answered this question in Cosplay Raw magazine. So the thing that keeps me,
I thought you were gonna say you need to buy the magazine to hear my answer.
No, I'm not gonna be that asshole. Because I've been burned out a lot before, and I have a 9-to-5 job, so like it's really easy to get burnt out. I think because by the time I get home, I'm fucking exhausted. But I've changed to shooting what I want to shoot, or things that I'm interested in. So I found that if I enjoy the subject matter that I'm shooting, then editing and the shooting component of it are a lot more enjoyable. I know that sounds kind of weird when it's kind of like, because I do agree that like everyone does, but I don't fit to a client for me to shoot something that I'm not interested in, because my photography and my quality definitely suffers if I shoot something I don't care about. Like, I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about League of Legends. So let me tell you, my effort that I put into that is not going to be great. But if you were to tell me to do like Cardcaptor Sakura, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah. Like that is something I'm really into. I'm definitely more invested in it, and it shows, I think. So again, it's not fair to my paying clients for me to shoot something I'm not in. So that's how I keep myself from sticking to things that I like. I mean, it's kind of like from a cosplayer's perspective, like why would I waste time, like money and hours of my life on a costume and a character that I don't care about? Like, that just doesn't seem like a good use of my time. I'm also old, so anymore.
I
I
think...
remember shooting.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. No, go ahead.
I remember shooting at MegaCon, which is like a Florida con. And I did like the most shoots I've ever done, like 5 shoots a day for 3 days. And it was like terrible. It's in the summer, super hot. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. So I basically like have always limited myself, like, like 3 shoots, maybe 4 shoots a day. Not trying to shoot too much Friday, so that like helps out with the burnout.
Yeah, I think a big part of it too is outside of paid stuff. Like, I'm like most of my shoots, I'm shooting with people that I enjoy being around. Like, honestly, I very like it's very few and far between that I'm shooting with brand new people to me at conventions, unless they're paying me. And that's not because I'm against it, but like so much of what I enjoy about shooting is like half of it's about creating cool images, and then the other half is just about hanging out with people that I like being around. And if that's what I'm doing, then chances are I'm not going to get all that burned out. That and I don't know, the area where I get burned out way more on is less the shooting and more the editing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If I didn't have to edit, I would like if all my photos could magically just be edited. I don't think I would.
Favorite part.
Oh, I love editing, but it's also the part that I get the most burned out on, if that makes sense.
Oh no.
I feel like shooting's
I
really
love it.
fun, and then when you go to
I don't
edit,
know.
I mean, editing like one maybe is fine, but then when you have to edit like a whole set,
The reason why I get burned out on editing is just because it takes me so much longer, and I want to get to new stuff, and I'm just like,
well, if you didn't take 5 years to cull through one set,
it's not even just the culling;
problem.
it's also the editing time.
Yeah, you are slow.
Yes, I am.
gotta simplify that work.
But I think something important to bring up is if you're feeling burnt out, is to figure out why you're. Because I think all 3 of us have mentioned, because we each have different reasons, like why we're burnt out, and it wasn't until we identified what those problems were as to why you're burnt out. Because I think you're not going to be able to fix your problem if you don't identify it first. Oh.
Yeah, no, that absolutely helps. Also, I think it's like really just remembering where your passion is for this, because like almost all of us, we're big nerds, and like we got into this shit because we're big nerds, and
because we're losers.
Yeah, just like remembering that big nerd part of it and getting that big nerd energy going helps a lot. Mallow asks, will you visit my town in Animal Crossing?
Duh.
If I was getting Animal Crossing, I would, but I am not.
I will. I'm
gonna call it fucking Hyrule or some shit, which is what I've been past like 10 years of my life. It's fine.
Procrastinating David asks, do you have an all-time favorite photo? One that you can say, this is my best work so far? I definitely don't. I
maybe have like a top 10 or something.
Top 10?
Yeah.
Let's narrow it down to like 3.
Oh God, no.
There is one photo I always refer to, or that I always give as an example.
I feel like I used to have that as a specific image. I was that. I
know. Let's spin it. Let's choose one for each other.
Oh God, I don't know. I'd have to look through your image. Sarah, this speaks
Yeah,
to
I
how
feel like
slow I am. In order to do this, I'd have to go through and I'd like have to download all your images, and then you'd have to give me like 5
But there's
hours to
no-
cull through.
There's no image at the top of your head.
So
like-
what used to be the case for me is it used to be my San photo from Colossal Con of Lady Danger. That used to be that photo for me. But I feel like I've exceeded and matched that photo a bunch of times, but I don't think there's one clear photo that I'm like, this is the one that I feel super passionate. I have like a handful that I feel super passionate about, but
No, I meant we pick a photo for each other.
Oh.
If you can't think of one for yourself. So like I'm trying to think of like what do I think like Mike's photos.
For Sarah's, I would think like any photo like with like green nature stuff.
I'm not
I
mellow.
love those. Oh, come on.
I'm not that good.
I'm trying to think.
I'm not gonna. Okay, it's not because it's in your name or because we call you Miku. I mean, I know you love Vocaloid, but I feel like some of your best usually Miku stuff or like Vocaloid.
I think my passion is
Colors
Vocaloid.
are just all the colors are just always so nice. I'm trying to wait. I need to go. Wait, I need.
I'm like going through your Instagram right now, Sarah. I'm just like
I'm gonna go to my. I know. Like you shot
See,
so much,
here's
I
the
just
problem
maybe-
is I've hit like photos that I'm like, ooh, I really love this shot. Ooh, I really love this shot. Ooh, I really love this shot. But like I'm like, there's not one that I'm like, this is the one that I feel.
I know there are specific ones of Mike where I'm like, yes.
Well, okay, let's rewind. What is the one that you feel for yourself, Sarah?
For me, only because I've noticed that I pick it a lot whenever for like examples of my work is the one of J Hart in front of the Gaylord window, like in the garden. He's like dead in center. He's wearing like that big purple dress or pink dress. You know what I'm talking about?
I probably would have to see it because it's not popping into my head based on that description. Because like ones that pop into my head for you, Sarah, would be like there's one of Ara's Midna where she's on the beach and has the sun flare. There's the one God, I can't Hoseki no Kuni photo with the cosplayer laying down with their hand coming up towards their face.
Oh yeah, that's another one I choose a lot.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just laughing because Allison Stock was like, I really like that one with the furry, and I'm like, which furry? And she's just like, the one with the ears.
Furry?
I don't. That doesn't help me.
Like that's what makes a furry.
My favorite one of yours, Andrew, is yeah, I don't really have a good descriptor, but she has like feathers and it's like blue, and it was like at dang, what was it called?
Andrew, I always think of your aqua photo.
Oh, that yes. Aqua photo. Yeah, lots of people.
Yes.
Like that
Oh
one.
my god. No, the one of Paulina where the T-blade's like really close to her face.
Yeah.
I love that. Like that is one I that is like such an Andrew. Oh my god, Mike, you've shot too much, and I literally.
I'm just like, there's too many good photos here. That's the problem. Is like, I think that's how like a while ago I felt like I didn't have as many great photos, so it was easier to pick one like the best photo. But now as I feel like I've put out more like good photos, it's harder to have like a clear one. And I feel like that's the case for all you guys. I feel like I'd have a hard time picking for all you guys.
Yeah. It's like, Mike, your colors are just so good.
Thanks.
Yeah, any fate shit, that always looks good. Honestly, this sounds really weird, but I really like the photos that you shoot at Colossal Con East, like in the pool. Like, even though the backdrop's not like super interesting, the colors that you make the water are always just like so pretty. like I said, like the background's not great, and I mean bathing suit, whatever, but I think the colors are just always so pretty when you edit anything from Colossal East in that wave pool or in like the hot tub thing, like when you have people sit on the stairs. Yeah, I like those. Those are always really pretty.
My time is done. Okay, we have a couple more questions. I know like we go 15 minutes, but we're
getting
gonna go
distracted.
That question us got us off on a little bit of a tangent, and we didn't really answer it all that great. But you know what? It doesn't matter. This one from Lou is, what are your processes before a shoot to get rid of butterflies or brain farts?
Put together a mood board. I do that for every shoot.
Yeah, the more
inspiration board.
Yeah, the more prepared you can be, the less you're gonna have to worry about it.
Also, I think the brain fart thing comes with just keep doing it. Like, you're just gonna get to the point where you go to a shoot and you just do it. Like, you're not even nervous, not really thinking of, like, you're not thinking about it in like a nervous way. You're just kind of like, well, I'm here, time to just do it. Like,
yes.
At least that's how I got eventually. That's applicable to anyone else. Fucking weird.
Yeah, the more I feel prepared, the less nervous I am, even though I still am nervous.
It's funny though, because sometimes I feel the most nervous when I'm approaching a shoot that I'm super excited for.
Because you don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah.
You're like, I love Kingdom Hearts, I'm gonna mess.
Yeah. So chances are, like, for most like paid shoots, I'm really never nervous going into those because I have a clear idea of what I'm going to do and the process I'm going to go about. And let's be real, when people are hiring you, they have like a clear idea of what your work is going to be, and I'm trying to live up to that level.
You hope that they do.
Yeah, well, yes, hope is a good word. But like when I'm doing free stuff and I kind of have range to do whatever the hell I want, and especially when it's a cosplay that I really love, then like the pressure, I feel that pressure so much more. I'm like, okay, couple final questions here. What apps do you use for editing and such? From Kengar M Dongatron.
For editing?
Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, Lightroom, Photoshop, and then 3D LUT Creator for me as the wild card thrown in there.
Hell is that?
It's a color grading tool that I really like, and it's made by.
I've looked into it. It's very complicated.
Yeah, it's made by this Russian guy. So when you like pay for it, it feels super sketchy because it's like I PayPal'd. Like you have to pay through PayPal, and it's like, do you want to send $90 to Cyrillic name here? And I'm like, do I?
I don't know.
But I really love it. Yes, I'm saying Russians are sketchy.
What's it called? 3D what?
3D LUT Creator.
I'm telling Jen.
Like LU.
Yeah, LUT.
T.
Yeah, I bought it on Black Friday like 4 years ago, something like that. So I couldn't tell you how much I paid for it at the time. It was probably like $80, $90. I really like it.
The site won't even load.
But it's that's one of those things that I wouldn't dig into it until like you're very well versed in like Lightroom and Photoshop already, because it's a good companion thing.
What the fuck is? Oh my god! You know, I'm just gonna keep using it, just praying to God that it looks okay. This looks so complicated.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm not that technically savvy. I just wing it. I don't know shit about it.
Hey, Andrew, you could make a tutorial.
I could.
Honestly, you should, because your frequency separation tutorial has saved my ass. It's so much better than any of the other frequency separation tutorials.
Neil, you'd be surprised how helpful LUTs can be for photos. They are amazing. Color changing.
He uses it.
Yeah, he said, but the LUTs are much more useful for videos. I don't know. I think yes and no. It's complicated. 3D LUT Creator is amazing though. If you play around with it.
I'll just watch you on stream.
Final thing that we had here in this one. This one's from Sakura Starburst, which says, "How do you decide between shooting something horizontal versus vertical?"
Ooh. I feel like I shoot stuff more vertical because I want to post it on Instagram.
I just don't know how to make anything look horizontal. Every time Andrew's
send me horizontals.
I have new one.
Yeah, you probably have a bunch of new photos to send me.
No.
We'll get back to that later.
I really thought I did. I thought I was trying pretty hard. Maybe not. I don't think I was trying that hard.
I always make sure when I'm doing a shoot that I'm giving back both verticals and horizontals. So
I don't do that. I should. I'm really terrible.
But I actually find that normally it just depends on how I'm framing things. I probably shoot even amounts of vertical and horizontal. So, yeah.
It's weird because you would think naturally you would just shoot horizontal because that's just the natural state of your camera.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a dumb bitch and I can't do it. So.
I think it's often pretty easy to shoot vertical because people are vertical. We are
Okay,
way
fair.
more vertical than we
except
are.
for me because I'm 2 feet tall.
Sakura Starburst says, Sarah, your new Leo photo is horizontal. True.
Wait, what new Leo photo? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. Okay, so that's one. Wait, let's see how many horizontal I've did until says Katsu. One.
But yeah, what
One.
Hunger Service was saying, focus our inner Bunny Twan, because Bunny Twan
I
does
can't
like
do that.
story, like story-ish photos.
Yeah.
And like I've been trying to do more story kind of photos, and
It's so
I've
hard,
been
man.
having to do more horizontal shots for sure.
Yeah.
To like, get them on the storyboard like really nice.
Yeah. I think it's
I
just
can't do it.
purely
Too hard.
based on the fact of cinema has built into us that like horizontal is like storytelling medium. I don't know if that's like actually the case or not, but that's what my brain tells me. But it'd be interesting to dive into. Speaking of diving into, you guys ready to dive back into this critique?
Yeah, Sakura Starburst knows more than I do about my own.
Amazing. Okay, let's do some more critiquing, guys. Okay, let's jump back in. This photo is from Christopher Rice.
Wait, I gotta get
One
back
of
to
those.
Flickr.
One of those two, maybe. Sarah, you want to start us off on this one? You're like, I don't know, do
it's already
I?
done with Flickr. No. Okay. Hold on. Okay. I'm not logged into Flickr, so I'm seeing ads, which I didn't realize were like a thing.
Oh,
Flickr
huh.
when you browse.
Interesting.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so this is really pretty. This was taken at Katsucon, and this is another good example where the only reason I know this was shot at Katsucon is because of that stupid tree, because it has like these weird, like plastic-looking leaves. But other than that, it's pretty hard to tell. And I think anyone shoots at the Gaylord at Katsucon or MAG, and you can't tell where it's being taken. I think that's super commendable because I feel like whenever I shoot there, I'm like, well, I clearly shot this at Katsucon and I had no other creative ideas. Yeah, so I really appreciate the angle and the framing of this shot. I think it utilizes this foliage here. It's interesting because this space actually feels like not very full of greenery, like at all. It's actually pretty sparse. So
yeah, I didn't even think it was the area that it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a zigzag thing.
Yep.
So I'm super impressed with that. Yeah. And I do like, again, another theme seems to be foreground bokeh, which I'm all about.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, foreground.
That being said, I think where this photo falls a little flat for me is reading. I don't feel like a lot was done to the image. I feel like just some like very general like exposure contrast adjustments were made, but I think this photo could really benefit from like some color grading layers, especially with the complementary colors of like the red and the green. One misconception is that if it's complementary, it's not together, but that's totally false. If you manipulate them enough, you can really make them work together really well and in like an interesting way. So I really would like to see this color graded. Yeah. Also, I think they did a pretty good job at shooting in like basically like dead afternoon, which is like the worst light, and I avoid it at all costs because I don't know how to shoot it very
so
well.
Hard to shoot in there.
It's so hard. And I think they did a pretty good job. I think the highlights need to be brought down like a tiny bit, and I think, and maybe it's just my screen, I don't know. I think the saturation in the red is a little bit too much for me. It's like very bright. I also think the tone of her skin is a little off. It's feeling a little like
I think this shot wants to be cooler, like in
Yeah,
tone.
it's just a little too yellow for me. But yeah, honestly, just like a few color, even just a color balance layer, I think would really help this image because I think it's very beautifully framed. I really like the cosplayer's expression. The cosplay looks great. Like the drape of that cape is so beautiful.
Yeah, I think you might be, actually you are maxing out saturation. That's what you're losing detail in the in the cape because I just looked at the histogram and it is totally peaking in the red saturation element.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know if it was my screen or what.
Part of it too is I think this image just something that you can look at is your histogram, and if the histogram feels fairly flat, like it doesn't have any peaks and valleys, and if it's just kind of like,
you want to share your screen?
Yeah, let me see if I can get it to share. Whoops, not that button.
Because I know I forget to look at the histogram.
So this is our histogram for this one. You can see the red saturation peaking right here, so that's saying like, hey, your saturation, it's in this area right here where that saturation is peaking. And two, this this point of the curve, yeah, it's going down and there's little peaks and spots, but overall it's pretty flat. Like especially I'll switch it to RGB. Like there's a curves up towards black, but it's fairly flat. What this means is it's hard to kind of find the focus point. Something that you can do in Photoshop to kind of help yourself figure out what you're doing here is I'm going to change this to black and white, and then I'm going to blur the image.
This trick is so good. This blew my mind.
So usually what you want in this situation is you still want to, even after you've changed it to black and white and blurred it, you still want to be able to clearly see where the subject is and how they are the focal point of the image. And if you find that when you do this, you kind of lose where they are in the image, it probably means that they're not defined enough and they're kind of just falling in, and the image overall might just be a bit too much of the same luminance values, and maybe you want to darken that background a little bit.
That's like grabbing an exposure brush or something and putting it on the subject. Yeah. I was looking at the settings too, and I noticed you could lower the aperture more and increase the shutter speed to get a little more.
Yeah, this was shot at 34 millimeters f6.3, 1/200th of a second, ISO 100. So it's actually not as bright out as I thought it would have been given this image. Yeah, you definitely could lower that aperture.
Yeah.
I think that would help this image a bit too, because then you get a little bit more, the foreground blurs a little bit more and the background blurs a little bit more too. Any other thoughts on this one before we move to the next shot?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, let's move on to the next shot. This next photo is from Chromatic Light Photo. Mike, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah. That's another blown out background photo, but it's done very well.
The same, pretty much the same location. Yeah. So,
and love that gazebo.
Yeah, that gazebo.
Again, the framing. I love like frame within a frame. Like you have a frame and then you frame them inside something else, which is really nice. One thing I noticed was
so meta.
One thing I noticed is that color grading in the background, those trees or whatever, is like, it's perfect. Like it matches the colors.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it is so nice. Like it matches all the colors in her cosplay too. Anything to improve? I don't know. Do you guys feel like the feathers are like kind of one-dimensional? Maybe. I mean, that's not something that I'm good at doing either. But like maybe you guys know a little more.
Yeah, so
tricks.
I feel like
one of the things I don't think any of us are good at.
Yeah, it's not my strong suit. But one, I don't.
Or like, Mason Hickory.
I had a hard time even noticing them at first, if I'm honest.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to notice.
So a couple.
I only noticed because it's on her leg. That's the only reason.
Yeah, there's a bunch above her, like, that are very hard to make out. So a couple things. One, I think part of the reason why they're not believable is because the size would be directly dictate to how blurred they would be. So if the feathers were bigger, that would mean that they were more blurred. We have like some semblance of the idea of like what the focal length blur is, and they're ones that are closer to the camera but are still like fairly in focus when they should be blurred more. So that's part that throws me off. And then I think the other part is that like a lot of the ones higher up that would be like feathers are fairly translucent. I think most of them would be just blown out. Like in reality, if you're shooting in this environment, I don't think, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm kind of, is this I think it's is it a Photoshop brush and not a stock image?
yeah, I think it's a Photoshop.
Kind of looks like
maybe it's,
I mean, feathers are
both.
pretty translucent, but there's still dimension to them. Like they have like that weird
but
like coating on them, so there would be. Oh, it is a stock image. That's interesting.
Yeah. Point being is, I think if you had these feathers backlit like that, they would just be pretty much blown out anyways.
Disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I don't.
And I know the feeling too, because I'm like, man, this would look cool if there's just like feathers everywhere and stuff.
Yeah.
But then I try to do it. I'm like, oh, it's so hard to get it right.
I think with this I get where they were going, but I think with this background, it's so hard to make it look good. Like it's hard to do photo manipulations. Like I don't do it because my brain, to be quite honest, it's just it's a lot.
I've literally only done one feathers insert in Photoshop like this. It was on your card captors Sakura photo that I gave back to you, Sarah.
Oh, really? Just mine? That's fine.
Yeah, it's the only one time I've ever done it. So I've got a couple thoughts on this one that overall I really, really like it. But I think the pose could be improved with just some subtle changes. First off would be hand placement. Her right arm is very straight, and for the most part with any sort of portraitures, you want to avoid any straight appendages. You want a little bit of bend in her elbow. So I would give like just a little bit of bend in that elbow. That would make that feel a little bit better. I also would like the hand that is on kind of the curve of the gazebo that's holding it up here. I wish that was higher up. I think it would kind of mirror her arms a little bit better. The other thing that we talked about earlier. Damn it.
Headband's coming back on.
The thing that we talked about earlier is silhouettes, and like the lower half of her body, or actually pretty much if you take her torso through her legs all the way down to her feet, is very straight. It's just swoop. If you had her torso turned ever so slightly and then kind of had her knees pointed to our right and then just had her toes kind of pointed back a little bit, just that little bit more like shape, like S curve in her body would go a long way.
This is a good example of like what I was talking about earlier about the silhouette of the body.
Yes.
So the other thing that I try to imagine when I'm extra whatever is if I was to literally color in just like vaguely like where their body is, like does that in my mind create an interesting shape, or is it literally just like a block? It does help a lot though, so I recommend trying.
Yeah, like more of a side angle and like curved, right? That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I get the S curve in that back.
Yeah,
but I do know trying to do that on that stupid little gazebo window, freaking hard.
That's hard. Yeah, that is so hard.
It is hard. I have one nitpick.
Go for it.
I think it would be nice to shop out the railing of glass. because right now, you can't. There's really no sense of like where the railing. Is that what you call it? Basically, starts
Silver
and
thing.
ends. Yeah, so I can see the top of it, but the bottom of it is pretty much lost within like the horizontal like piece of wood in the actual gazebo. So I think like that's okay, but I think getting rid of that top silver bar is fine. It's kind of weird that it's there. It's also like a different color than the gazebo. Because I like the greenery actually in the background.
I really like it.
Ooh, that is so
Yeah,
good.
so I wouldn't get rid of that, but I think just getting rid of the silver railing because it's like very. I don't know. It sticks out so much to me for some reason. I think probably because I just know it's there. But yeah, I would just shop that out. And I think in this case, because the background is so blown out, you honestly could probably just paint over it with like a white, soft, rounded brush, and it would be fine.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So real quick to loop back to the silhouette, just as a showcase on this, I did this really quick and sloppy, but this will give you an idea of what we're talking about when it's like literally you take the subject and if you just like made them a silhouette and that gives you an idea like just clearly what their body shape is and where their position is, and you can see how like torso to legs and head, like how straight and in line that is. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the silhouette. To give people,
it is something hard to like remember to think about during shoots. Like it took me a while, but once you remember to think about that, it's game changer. And at this point, it's just training your brain to think about those things naturally when you're shooting. It's a lot to think about, but it is probably one of the biggest tips I've learned from J Hart, especially. So.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
Great.
Awesome. Let's keep on rolling. Okay, this next image is from Mythic Sheep Productions. Mike, do you want to lead us away on this one? I think it was... Is it you or is it me? Is it me? It's me.
It's
Sorry.
you.
I screwed up. Oh, man. Didn't have my notes up, and this is what happens. Oh my goodness!
Okay,
Hold on.
you have like 500 windows up.
Yeah, it's
okay,
I've been getting lost with my windows a lot tonight. I'm just like, where is this window? Oh my god, I don't even know anymore. Okay. So share that in chat. Okay, cool. I think we're good. We're gonna jump into this. Okay. So well, then I closed my notes. Why did I do that? So first want to say shooting in the arcade, super freaking hard.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's can be fun, but it's also like equal parts frustrating. I have stopped shooting in the arcades at cons. I'm just done. Like I just don't do it anymore. I'm done with it.
Yeah, I've given up fully.
Yeah. So like just wanted to clarify that the understanding here is that this is not easy. What I will say is that I like where the colors are going in this image. I really wish they were just taken a little bit further. I think there's a ton of potential for some fun color grading in this image. But playing off of the colors that did turn out in this image, but as it is right now, it's like it's almost there, but it feels a little bit too like straight out of camera. And when you have these kind of colors in your image, you can play around with things a ton. So don't be afraid to. There's also a bit of just like weirdness that came in. I think maybe playing around with Lightroom sliders. Like the pink light that's falling on her face feels like it's hitting some like weird lines that I wonder if you played with like the luminance values of it a little bit. That feels a little bit off. I'm not sure on that one, but it feels a little funky. Next I want to talk about the framing. Personally, I think the framing gives a little bit too much headroom. I'd lower this a little bit, especially because I don't feel like having those digital numbers in the image is all that appealing. I would have lowered the camera so that her head's higher in the frame and probably cuts off like towards the top of where that like, so you just cut off the digital signage. In fact, I think even like as a cropped image, I like this more. Oops, I forgot to change that back. So like if I screen share, like if you cropped it like this, I think I actually like this framing more still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I also think you could have shot this a little bit higher of an angle. Right now her body's getting a ton of foreshortening because her legs are straight onto the camera.
Wait, this is a really good example of demonstrating the silhouette thing we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like there's
Mallows and I are on the same wavelength. Mallow's trying to steal the show. She's like saying the exact same things that I just said.
Oh.
Oh, Sheep said they went a little too hard in the luminance.
Yeah,
that's true too. Like in the shirt, I think it's like it has like weird stuff.
Honestly, sometimes they'll do that, and then oh man, I'm dropping frames. What happened? Oh, okay, it was just a brief blip.
And I was like, uh-oh.
It was just a brief blip, I think. Oh nope, we're losing them again. Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Oh man. Are we back? Hold on. I wonder if my backup is trying to run right now, because sometimes that will happen. Where my backup program's like, hey, is now a good time to upload computer stuff? And I'm like, no, it's not. I think we're good now though. I think it was just a brief blip. Sorry about that. Corona. I do like the pose, and I think a higher angle would really work for this pose. I like that you tried to go low to get a different framing for it, because I think you were kind of going like, oh, this is cool. This is low. I'll get low. But I do think that higher angle would elongate her body a little bit more and kind of make her pose look a little bit more flattering. And this is maybe a nitpick from me. But personally, I would actually edit out the reflections in her glasses, at least the green parts. I find them a little distracting.
Yeah, they're super distracting.
Especially because there's really not any of that like yellow green in the rest of the photo. So I personally would just like, that seems like it'd be a fairly easy edit too. So I'd just nuke those.
The one thing I like about the low angle is the leading lines from the bottom.
True. Yes.
Yeah, the leading lines are nice. I just think the pose of the cosplayer is not great. Like foreshortening in any like drawing, photography, whatever, is just not a good idea.
Yeah, I think the funny thing there is I don't think you'd really lose those lines all that much with a higher angle.
Yeah, they still be.
That's what I had for my notes. So, overall, I like it. I think just have fun with this one. I think you could go a little crazy on it, but I'd recenter those luminance values though. Sometimes I'll do that where I'll play around with them and I'll zoom in, and then I'll realize like I'll screen share here that like somehow these like lines end up happening in places where there shouldn't be lines because of how the luminance slider works. Stuff like that. I just pay attention to that and maybe like roll it back a little.
Yeah, that happens to me too.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, you think something looks great and then you zoom in and you're just like, never mind.
You're like, just kidding, I suck. Fine.
Okay. Any final thoughts on this one?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to the next image. This one is from Brad Carlisle Photo. Sarah, you want to start us off?
I love Demon Slayers. Don't spoil me because I'm super behind in the manga. Anyway, I really love this location for this series. I don't know. I want to assume this is Cosplay. It's probably not, but whatever. Yeah, I love the forest location. I think it's really nice, and I think the cosplayers pop like from the background really nicely. And I like the cool tone that they were going for, because I think like sometimes a lot of the fights are taken at night, so I like that they were going for more of that kind of like dusk feeling with the color grading. So that's super cool. I think the part where this photo falls a little flat for me is the posing. I think it's a little weak. I get that they were trying to do kind of like the dynamic battle poses, but this is a good example of like where the pose is like halfway there. And I encounter this a lot. I mean, I do this myself as like a cosplayer, but like you'll notice like when you ask someone to do a pose, like they're kind of almost there, and then you can kind of tell that it's like you really just gotta like put your gut into it. And because like cosplay at the end of the day is kind of like you're acting, you know, for a photo. And I feel like just kind of like lunging forward a little more intensely or a little more dramatically, like it may feel and look weird like maybe in real life, but like in frame on a camera it looks really good. Because right now these poses feel a little stiff and kind of like it doesn't even feel like they're waiting for something to happen. They almost look kind of like a little kind of like hesitant, and this is not like what the pillars are about. They're like badass, they're ready to kick butt. And I'm kind of missing that intensity here. And then the cosplayer on the left, the love pillar, I like literally can't remember any of their names. Let me tell you, I read so fast, I don't absorb any of them.
I don't remember any of their names either.
Oh my god, I'm so bad with names with the love pillar.
Yeah.
I really wish her pose was a little more dynamic. I think it's really cool that she had like that bendable sword, because like when I saw that in the manga, I was like fucking wild. But right now she just feels kind of like, oh, I'm like frolicking through the woods, but I don't really know what I'm doing here. And like she's kind of like that like when she's not in battle, but when she's in battle, like she's a badass. And this picture makes me think like they're getting ready to just like attack, and I'm not really getting that. Like it's almost there, but it's like not there yet. So I wish her pose was a little more like intense and like dynamic feeling, because right now she just, like I said, she looks a little unsure. And the flame pillar, again, fucking names. I think if that cosplayer was like crouching a little bit more, like if the forward bend on the knee was like just a little bit lower, it would feel a lot more intense and a lot more intentional. I think that's the right word. Like, did the poses look intentional, or do they kind of just look like they're hanging out? Yeah. But I think the location is really nice, and I like the color tones of the photo, but I think the posing is a little weak, especially for these types of characters. Yeah, anyway.
I like those muted green tones.
Me too.
I do too. However, I feel like there's just a bit too much gray in the shot.
Yeah.
The colors, I think, universally need to be played with a bit more. Because we got a lot of grays, and I'm not sure if I'm feeling them. And I think the greens, you could actually pull the saturation down a little bit more. But what's really throwing me off is the brown of the log in the foreground. Because it's really the only brown colors that we're getting in the image. I think if you're sticking to those grays, I think if you took the saturation out of those and made them gray, that would work better.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah. The other thing that's I really, for whatever reason, do not like in this image is the tree that is in front.
It's a little distracting.
Yeah, the upright one, not the one that's fallen over, but it's just this like big vertical line that's fairly bright, and it just like it draws my attention. It's almost like it's acting like a third person in the scene. Like it's like love pillar. I don't remember what the other pillar is, and then tree pillar. We're just getting tree pillar right there.
It's because it's like so in the same plane, right?
Yeah, and I think if you had like pushed it I think it would be better off not in the frame at all, but if you pushed it over further in the frame, kind of made it further away from the cosplayers, it would work better.
Dude, I would have called that shit out. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the background has enough random shit that like you totally could if you wanted to. If you want to be
Tree Pillar's Tree
Pillar's
my favorite character.
Oh, God.
Do you guys feel like they should be like facing opposite directions instead of towards each other? That's how I usually pose.
It depends, I suppose, what you're trying to say.
I mean, Sakura Starburst brought up a good point. I forgot to mention this actually was they said the pillars kind of look like they're posing for different images. And I think that's, for me, like that is what made me think that the posing is the weakest point. Like it really does look like they're paying attention to two different photographers. Like they're not interacting with each other like at all. Yeah. Like they could be looking off in opposing directions, like that's fine, because there could be enemies coming from like multiple sides, but they don't look like they're in the same scenario. And I think that's ultimately where this kind of is a little weak.
I would very much agree with that.
Ban trees 2020. Oh my god, I'm done.
Any other thoughts? Okay, let's
almost there.
Let's move on to the next image. And this one is from Cat Macbeth Photography. Mike, do you want to start us off on this one? You've matched the color scheme of your lights to this photo, Mike. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but
it's randomly changed.
But you did it. You did it. What a mad lad!
Wow, that's so I really like the background separation here. Like I feel like people will try to like shoot too far away, and the one thing you have to like try to do is like get in close, because you'll get more background separation. Like you won't have as much negative space. So I think that's a good job on that. And I like the sharpness is like perfect. I noticed that the aperture was pretty high, like 5.6. So that's probably why you got nice sharpness there. And you shot at 80 millimeters. So yeah, that makes sense for the background separation. One thing is the left arm is like hidden.
More missing limbs.
More missing limbs. No.
Oh yeah.
And doing that pose with like the eyes like kind of closed a little bit, it's like always so hard, and like I always have issues with that too. Like
I think you need a really soft light for it to work, because like I like the smugness of her look, but her eyes are now totally in shadow because of it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, I was like,
there's
what do
no
you
catch
mean?
light.
Okay.
That's like
Yep.
that I see there. How do you guys have any tips for that? Like how to like have a smug look?
I mean,
just open your eyes more a little or something.
I don't know, man. I think here's
the thing.
I've
never done it before.
I think this cosplayer is doing it fairly well, but I think the lighting doesn't work well with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially because like it's a fairly high hard light. So now her eyelids and eyelashes are casting a shadow over her eyeballs. So her eyes are in shadows, which if the light was softer, I think they wouldn't be nearly as shadowed.
Oh my god, Mike, that's so much green. Holy fuck. See, Andrew's at least a nice green. Yours literally like shamrock, Crayola crayon.
It. No, it's St. Patty's though. I'm just giving it to the moon.
The problem is the one light on my
left.
Not
a real holiday, y'all.
The light on my left, I cannot change the color on. That one's just an LED with a gel on it.
Link green. Okay, I can get behind
Link
that.
Green.
Still a little like Nickelodeon slime.
Oh.
Oh my god! Now it's like Christmas up in here. What is like Doomsday? I mean, are we close enough? Anyway.
Hey, I'm just practicing for being in hell, okay? You know,
we're already in hell.
I figure
we've been in hell for the past like 4 years.
Just get some early practice in.
We've been there.
Anyway. Lord.
Us all.
Okay, sorry. Let's get back onto this photo. I wanted to talk about the framing a little bit. I feel like I know why the cosplayers framed in this image the way they are because of the mic, but I do want them scooted a little bit to the right. Second, I think it's kind of fun if you're putting them up against like a movie poster or musical poster or whatever it is for the thing that the character's from. But if you're gonna do it,
I really want to know where this.
yeah, but center them on the music on that poster, because like you're on like the left side of the poster, and I really want the cosplayer to be like centered on that poster. I think it would work so much better.
I totally get why they frame the cosplayer where they are, because you can see the person that they're cosplaying.
Yes,
I get it.
Yeah, no, I get it too.
But I think it's like my designer side is like, just put them in the center of the poster. Like, I would have had them just replicate that pose that their character is doing.
Yeah.
What is this from? I really want to know. It's clearly in New York.
Six, the musical? I don't know. It starts with SIX, I'm pretty sure. The Six, the musical. Let's see.
My god, it's literally a Google search. This can't be.
The Six Wives of Henry the.
Oh my god, there it is. Interesting.
Okay, well. That's interesting.
That's cool.
Definitely not what I thought this would be at all, but you know,
I thought it was
from
like an idol anime.
Yeah, I totally thought it was going to be an idol anime, but here we are.
The only reason I didn't think so was because of the address on the bottom, the 256 West 47th Street. I was like, that is New York the address. Oh, that's interesting.
I will say I do really like it's an unorthodox color combo, that purple and green, but I like it.
You know, they actually works really well together. They did a good job.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the final image?
We're already at the final.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. This is what happens when you don't have any kind
the funny thing is, it's not like we've been going fast through this critique, guys. Like, this is pretty average speed for us, but it's just like, oh, people, we're talking. This is nice.
God, we're talking to fucking humans.
This is so lovely.
Weird.
Okay, so this final image is from Elliot Angelina. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Let me paste that link for you guys in chat. And then I can close Flickr. Thank God. One less thing to worry about and be confused by when I'm clicking on many different windows. This image, I think, is a case of one where just the changing of the focal length would change the feel of this image a lot. And I feel like I know what they were going for a little bit with this. But so for the record, this shot was taken at, let me pull up the properties. F8 1/30th of a second, ISO 200 at 18 millimeters on a T6i. So
wait, F8 at 1/30th of a second?
Yes.
Holy shit, this person has the steadiest hands ever.
But it was at 18.
Wow.
It's at 18 millimeters though, Sarah. Take that will definitely change things.
My shit would have been just like motion blur, like earthquake photo. Like, I don't think y'all the lowest I'll go.
So, I think this shot, I don't know what lens this was taken on. I don't think it showed me that in the details of this
lens
photo.
If it's the T5.
It's probably the kit
55.
It's a T5i.
55.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So here's what you do. You shoot this instead of at 18. You shoot this at 55. Right now, one of the weirder things about this image is the 18 millimeter angle, I think, is giving a little bit of like unflattering distortion on the cosplayers. And two, it's causing this major size difference between the two cosplayers. So Diva looks a lot bigger than Soldier 76.
Good job.
I did
Hell
it.
yeah.
That way, if you're shooting this at 55, you can back up a little bit, and they're going to be the size the same, and it will feel a little bit more natural, and you won't get that weird 18 millimeter distortion.
I think shooting at a lower angle also probably would help.
Yes. I do like Diva's eye contact with the camera, but that said, it feels a little odd then that Soldier 76 is not looking at the camera. Perhaps it would make a little bit more sense. I don't quite feel like he's looking at her. I feel like he's looking off.
Mm-hmm. No, I do too.
And maybe if he was looking at her, it would feel a little bit more natural, or also looking at the camera.
I'm not sure I quite understand. I mean, I kind of know what they were going for, only because I know, but I feel like it's kind of hard to understand, like, what kind of relation they were trying.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time grokking that.
Characters.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like, the fandom likes to deem Soldier 76 as, like, the dad figure, and Diva's, like, young, so she's kind of, like, the, not immature, but kind of, like, the inexperienced, like, soldier of Overwatch. But Soldier 76 is, like, the veteran. So usually, like, fan art will portray him as, like, being, like, the protective father figure, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they're... Dad 76, exactly. Which is, I get they're trying to go for, but I feel like the body language and the composition is kind of
I think
odd,
a little,
so
just some slight changes. Like, if you had his hand, like, resting on her head or something, like, it was almost like ruffling her hair or something like that.
Yeah.
That would definitely contextually get that. Also, it's hard because, like, we're only getting the very top of like, it feels like we're going for a 3/4 shot on Diva, but then like a like close to full body shot on Soldier 76. So having those very different sizes feels a little bit off to me. So I'd try and just like, and I think if you shot this at 55 millimeters, that would go a long way to kind of balancing that out. I think it probably was done this way to make Diva seem kind of like shorter and smaller compared to Soldier 76. At least that would be my guess. Mm-hmm. But because of the wide angle distortion and her being so much bigger than him, it doesn't read that way to me. Mm-hmm. Also feel like the color grade's a little pink. I think that was trying to.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
I think. Hair too.
Yeah, I think that was probably going to in terms of like an artistic tone, because I don't think that was like the color balance. That said, I think if you're gonna take it that way, go a little harder into the pink territory. It's like just subtle enough of a pink that I have a hard time reading whether it was intentional or not. The final thing I want to get to talking about is the fake bokeh.
Yeah, the blur is not good.
Don't do it. It just does not look natural at all. Like, I think this feels like just like a kind of like a Gaussian blur in Photoshop, and like I feel like a camera software could probably process this a little bit better than like your phone camera software could process this as a fake bokeh blur better than this. But like, there's just so much about it that doesn't feel correct. One, like, our eyes can tell that it's a wide angle, and a wide angle lens isn't like gonna have that hard bokeh in the background, but then also have like Soldier 76 fairly in focus there. Like, it just, there's so much is at odds with kind of like whether we know it or just have looked at enough images to understand it, whether we actually can explain it or not. Because I think that's an interesting thing about photography is we've seen enough photos that even if you don't know a lot about photography, you subconsciously have an understanding about how photos are supposed to look. And when like laws of optics are violated pretty strong. Like, people are going to be able to tell. They might not be able to explain why it feels off, but they'll be able to be like, something about that feels weird. And I think that's how it reads in this image. It's like, I just look at it and I'm like, that blur just, it's a little funky. It feels weird. And it's also just not executed very well, because like the pillar, which is sharp behind Soldier 76, the edge of it is blurred along with the background, instead of having the pillar edge be sharp and the background blurred. So just if you're gonna go ahead and do that, I think be a little bit more conscious about how it's blurring. Otherwise, just I wouldn't worry about it. There's very little background in this image, and I don't think you needed to blur it. I don't think that really helped the image in any substantial way. And I think it actually probably took away more than it helped. So I wouldn't worry about it too much.
If you did want the background to be blurred, like Andrew said, go to 55 millimeter on this, and
Yes.
just drop that f-stop as much as it'll go down.
Yes.
Like, it'll probably go to 5.6. And at that point, though, you might have problems with them being on different planes. So you may have to push them closer together, maybe side by side, or just a little closer to make sure that they're both in focus. But doing that will make the background, more blurred. You may not have to add this fake blur to it.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts on this one? Awesome. Sounds like nope. Okay, so that was the final shot of the critique.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much to Mike, Kaze Photography, for joining us on the stream.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun having you
Yeah.
here with us.
I miss you guys. I feel like I haven't seen you or talked to you guys in a while.
I mean, it's only been like 2 months, but yes.
I mean,
Feels long.
it's been I think ColossalCon East for me, right? So
Oh, MacFest.
MacFest?
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Dumb.
It does feel like forever though.
Yes, it does. So, this is the part where I ask people to share their socials. So, Mike, where can people follow you?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me at Kaze_Mike on Instagram. I also do some Twitch streaming. I usually do photo editing, but I don't have a backlog right now. So I'm streaming some
I'll
games.
send you my photos, Mike.
Yeah, just send me some photos. I'll edit some. Yeah, I'm streaming some games right now. Granblue Fantasy Versus, if you guys like fighting games. And when Final Fantasy VII comes out, you best believe I'll be on that.
Oh my God, Reno's titty.
Oh my God.
I'm ready.
I want to say real quick before I forget about it. If you submitted a photo and it was not in the stream, it's because we got more than 12 images. So that means that your photo will be included in the next critique. So, more on that in just a bit. But Sarah, where can people follow you and keep up with your work?
Don't follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. I actually just started putting together my Cosplay website. It's not quite done yet, but I'll be posting a link to that sometime this week because I have so much goddamn free time. But basically the point of it is to use it as a means to book for cons whenever the hell that ever happens again. Yeah, so look forward to that.
Awesome. And then you can follow me on obviously here on Twitch. Give me a follow if you've been watching and haven't followed me yet. What the hell are you doing? Or you can follow me on Instagram at Vontog or Facebook at Vontography. This is normally when I'd ask people to say when your upcoming cons would be. But
Well, if the world isn't dying, Fanime, which I don't think will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not happening.
Yeah.
So my next one, well, maybe the Otakon.
Yeah, so my next one theoretically is ASUN, but that's like the weekend after Fanime. So I don't I was talking to my wife today and she's just like, ASUN's not happening. No. So I don't know. I don't know when my next con is. I think a lot of us don't know when our next con is. So
CCE is probably a definite. I would like to think my mindset is like hopefully by fall.
Yes.
Mine will be CCE, maybe not ASIN. YetiCon, maybe.
Here's the thing. I was
Wait, isn't that like next month?
No, it's
YetiCon?
July.
Oh, it's July?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like the end of April or something.
Or is
I
it
thought it was like the end of April,
No.
like early May.
No. Is it June or July? I forget.
Oh,
It's one of those two.
knows.
Point being is I was mildly it's June. I was mildly looking into it. And I mean, I've kind of put that looking into going to YetiCon on hold for now.
Ooh.
So we'll see.
Oh.
O2 Supply, if you're on the fence about what image to post or review, what's your suggestion? You can message me about it. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. But yeah. So here's the deal. Because it's surprise, surprise. Sarah and I's Tuesday nights pretty much are free right now. I think we're gonna try and do a decent. Well, streams always on Tuesday, anyways. But we're gonna try and do Q&A next week. And then probably another critique in the next maybe 2 weeks from now. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that offline. But point being is expect streams from us in the near future on Tuesdays. I will be streaming photo editing and video game playing the rest of this week. Times will be sporadic, but I'll have time, so I will be streaming. So if you want to hang out with me, I'll be streaming. Yeah, so come hang out if you see me streaming. With that, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone hanging out, watching, lurking, or especially those of you who are in chat critiquing along with us. You guys are awesome. Thank you. We love you guys for making all your comments. I'm sorry if we can't if we miss some of them or don't read every single one of them. But we're trying to keep up, and we really, really do appreciate you guys. Huge thank you to those of you who donated and subbed during the stream, especially to Que with those 10 gift subs. You're a freaking champ. And then the Hunger Service for that awesome raid earlier.
Yeah.
If you've been enjoying the stream, please consider giving a donation or a sub. Those go a long way to help us out here and keep this thing going. We're trying to get some new badge emotes, or bad sub icons is what I was going for.
Yeah, I like that
icons.
popper one.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah.
what are badge sub icons?
The sub badges are the ones right now. It's just a star next to your name because we don't have one. It's just saying you're a subscriber. And
Wait, what's the pupper one you're talking about?
no, he's talking about the one of you with the dog.
Oh, I was like, I'm thinking
Doggo.
dog icon.
Mallow, can I ask for an encore? Sadly, no. We'll be back. I'll be back soon. And then we'll, as a group,
3 more
be
minutes
back
of
very
us
soon.
talking shit.
But yeah, if you're enjoying the stream, if you're not followed, please get followed. But if you're enjoying it and have the means, which I understand is not necessarily everyone at this point in time because of reasons. But yeah, drop us a follow, get subscribed if you have the means to, especially if you have Amazon Prime. That means you have Twitch Prime, which means you have 1 free sub to give to whichever streamer you'd like. If you don't use it here, which we'd love if you did, please use it somewhere. Give it to some streamer.
Especially in these times where people
Yeah.
are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Some people are going to start turning to Twitch for income. So.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't have the means to do that right now, please just share it. There's going to be lots of people with free time and right now that want to have something fun to watch. So please just share it with friends, share it with your photographers, encourage people that you know that are into cosplay photography to submit a photo. We're trying to help people, so the more people we can help and the more people that'll watch, the better. So yeah, get that word out there. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Mike, for being here with us tonight. I know you were so busy on this Tuesday evening. You were planning on going out and doing a ton of drinking with a bunch of people, but you know,
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad that you decided to stick in with us. Sarah, thank you always for doing this with me. And that will do us for tonight. After we wrap this up, I'm gonna send you over to a musical Twitch streamer that I really enjoy. But for now,
hitting up.
Yeah, for now, think about what you put out into the world. Make it a better place. Have a good night, everyone.
Stay
Bye.
safe. Don't be dumb.
Stay
Bye.
safe. Stay sanitized.